Good morning, family and friends. Crying out, Psalms 30 and 2. Crying out to God is an act of desperation, but it's also an act of total concentration. It means our whole focus is on getting God's attention to deliver us from a condition or a situation. It is a fervent expression of our faith in God and trust in His ability and power to act on our behalf. Crying out to God expresses the following traits: humility. It's hard for us to admit when we can't solve a problem. It's hard to us to admit when we're stumped. We can't overcome an obstacle. We can't develop a plan. And we have to then admit that we need God's help. He delights in a broken and contrite heart, and that humbly seeks His help. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble, Psalms 9 and 12. Crying out means we've reached a state of unconditional surrender. When the situation becomes so desperate and so dire that only God can hear us, only God can deliver us. We've called mom and dad, sister, brother, family, and friends, and there is no help. The cry represents total, unconditional surrender. And so when we're crying out to God, we must be careful not to try to bargain with Him, but just leave our life in His hands. Crying out to God is just simply a plea for mercy. Lord, have mercy on me. I don't deserve it. I have no merit, but I need your favor right now. Lord, have mercy. When driven to a point of despair or even destruction, we note our own unworthiness before God and make it clear to Him, I need you. When we reach that state, we need to cry out to God for mercy. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Lamentations 3:22 through 23. Crying out expresses our own personal helplessness. A lot of us cry out to God only when things are big. They're insurmountable. But crying out occurs even in our daily lives. Remember, Jesus said, without me ye can do nothing. John 15 and 5. Crying out exhibits our true faith in God's power and His resources. Our cry to God acknowledges God's ability to do what no one else can do, to do exactly what He said He would do. During the storm on the Sea of Galilee, the disciples had to acknowledge God's power, Jesus' power, when they cried out, Lord, save us, we perish. And they saw that power when He spoke to the wind and the waves. Matthew 8 and 25. Crying out means we've reached a state of total desperation. Crying out is just simply an admission or a need for help from only God. The psalmist declared, in my distress I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of His temple, and my cry came for Him, even unto His ears. Psalms 18 and 6. Remember, cry out to God. Be humble. Beg for His mercy. Admit our helplessness. Know the power that's in His resources and the power that's just in His name. There's something about the name Jesus. Reach a point of desperation. I declare that when no one else can help, God will. Love lifted me. That love came from God, crying out to God, and he will deliver you. God bless and God keep you is our prayer. And always, should you have any questions, please feel free to inbox me.